we'll jump back to Luna now.
Okay.
Afton cringes, pulls out his drums. Well, I'm not especially proud of how I acted during this time. It was a big change and it was really fast. He shifts in his hands. He moves his hands and then suddenly the fogs turn into a tavern. It's warm and you can, from the look of it, it's one of the old wings of Hunter's Lodge. And Afton says, I had a good thing going. I had fans, I had people who would come and hear me sing from miles around. And in the tavern you see this stone floor with rough-hewn chairs and crackling hearth in the center, and the small area soon becomes crowded with people who are excited, and they're talking and drinks are pouring. You can smell the scent of roasted meat with butter and spices and cinnamon sweet baked goods. And Afton stands in the center of the room. Everyone looks at him expectantly as the crowd quiets and the hearth illuminates him from underneath. As he begins to sing, and his warm tenor voice fills the room as the crowd anxiously quiets. Men with hefty pelts and thick arms hush each other. Women whisper, the children still. And he begins to strum on his harp before leaping to the ledge of the hearth, where he walks. It's a pretty big ledge. Just saying. He walks slowly around the crowd and looks them in the eyes, and with a grin he starts to strum. One night, the shadows grew. One night, blood ran chill. As ghastly villains sweep the air, and specters of fear grasp the soul. One night, a scream was heard. One night, till the victim fell. The cries of a town heard all around, and a pool of blood lay on the ground. A lady most pure and white was slain in ghoulish delight. Who would do such a crime? Who could kill the sublime? Was it the wolfish foes who stalked the night? The claws of men fueled by jealous hands? The frightful darkness that forever stands? Or the devil's tongues that actions ignite? One night, the shadows grew. One night, a bargain struck true. Afton finishes the chord and takes a bow. The crowd erupts into an applause. Coins clatter into his bucket of chips and drinks flow freely in his name. Afton performs a number of pieces after that, and the crowd eagerly drinks in his performances. After he finishes, the crowd rushes him. They shower him in compliments. The energy of the room, Afton is very much an extrovert as he just sucks all this energy in and is just glowing, beaming. He's having the time of his life. He absolutely loves this. And this human male in a fine tunic approaches him. It's blonde with some gray in it. And he says, Afton, that was quite the show. Oh, thank you. Haven't met you before. Perhaps. I'm Bertrand Belfort. From the capital, with some of the human kingdoms united. I was hoping to start a school of sorts. A bardic school. And I was hoping that you would come with me to tour the country and collect students. And then be a teacher at this new school. And you see Afton just gawk. And, wow, will you pay for my travel expenses? And between you and me, I'm kind of working off my drinks, you know? And Bertrand laughs, a hearty chuckle, and pats Afton's back. Say, you take some time to think about it, and I'll be, think it over. I'll be in town for a few days. And the tavern fades. A new... Oh, cool, okay. I'm gonna change the battery and...
Is Kristen coming back?
I hope so.
I hope she didn't go out to get the famous carton of milk. It takes 17 years to come back.
No, she missed my song. I was bummed about that.
She also missed the marriage talk. I really would have liked her to weigh in on that. That was fun.
Yeah.
Chianti, I am all sorts of perturbed.
Yes.
Unless she was like, wow, man, those clouds.
Those clouds, man, wow.
Maybe she was the one that was into the clouds.
Yeah, she said she'll be AFK for a bit. I don't know.
Guess we'll have to just keep going. So the tavern fades and it opens to a scene of Afton and Kira arguing. Kira arguing. The room appears to be one of the ground. The room appears to be one of the ground floors of your grandmother's manor, and you see Kira hold up these papers and slap them and be like, "Afton, you can't go. I need you here. I can't run Virkis alone." And Afton says, "It's the best opportunity I'll ever get." And besides, you have Lionel. Like, you can handle it. And Linus. You have Linus. Yeah, sorry, you put 2 lion names down for me, man. You have Linus. And she's like, Linus is retired. It's not his responsibility to do this. And they keep arguing. And you watch it until it fades and it just kind of grows into a muffle. And you hear Kira's present voice say to you, "Yeah, well, the arguments grew worse and it almost tore us apart." Afton says, "I was ready to go, but then our son Elvin was born." So it's E-L-V-A-N.
Yes.
Elvin, yeah. So, and you see just this image of this new baby boy. It's been like a couple days probably, and Afton says, "I took one look at him and I decided I need to stay." And you see the family of Kira, Afton, and Elvin gathered. Clearly after the birth, because she's not unconscious or in pain or covered in blood.
Yeah.
We had our... It's a beautiful scene. We took time and a lot of uncomfortable conversations, but we managed to work out the kinks in our marriage. And Kira kind of rolls her eyes. "Yeah, most of them." She leans over. "He still left the toilet seat up." Or like some equivalent to that, like just little things.
He just leaves the outhouse open. We're not sure why.
Yeah. I mean, he
Airs it out!
It airs it out! And we don't need to air it out, we want to keep the smell in!
Want to keep the bugs out.
Yes, the bugs out.
Yes, exactly that. Anyway, and they like they look at each other and they're like, "It's fine," you know, like in the past. And
They still have this argument.
We had our second child, Feyre. The joy was short-lived as words of fiends in the forest started to circulate. No one really took it seriously. We just thought kids saw a bear or a moose or, you know, making up stories. And then you see another scene where Kira's in her nightgown and Afton's next to her. He's just holding her hand really tightly, and there are these hunters holding just this mutilated corpse of one of the rangers who was a white-haired moon elf. and they're a minority subrace. I'm curious about that, but she had met a clearly brutal and agonizing end, and just terrible, violent death. And Kira is absolutely floored by this, and there are 2 other corpses that are just the same. And Afton says Kira became pretty reserved after that, and well, no one really knew what to do because we couldn't track or find the fiends. And then things got worse when our youngest, is it Modana?
Yeah.
Modana became ill, and I think it had something to do with the fiends. She got corrupted by them somehow because the doctors had no idea what was wrong. Nothing they did worked, and she died a slow, agonizing death at the age of 3. And you see just this scene of Kira holding her child and sobbing profusely and just lamenting loudly as she screams and cries. And Afton, he is someone who draws in to he just kind of shuts down. Like, you see him just like not even processing it. And Kira says to Luna, I fell to despair, and life was numb, and I felt empty and worthless. But Afton, Linus, and my living children, Feyre and Elvin, and Alice, bore me up. And you see her. She appears before you. You've just been kind of like hearing her, and then she grabs your shoulders and says, Luna, you must kindle the light. I lost all of my hope after Madonna died, but hope isn't in despair. It's born in love. And next to her, these 4 more personages appear as Elvin, Feyre, Alice, and Madonna appear behind her. And Madonna is the only child that you've seen in this dreamscape memory place. And they all appear. And Kira says, we believe that if you take vows or adhere to tenants, that it can empower you. And a tenet that we have in our family is kindle the light. But through your acts of mercy and kindness and forgiveness, you kindle the light of hope in the world, of beating back despair. And they look at you and say, Luna, will you take this vow?
Yes. But does this have something to do with my lycanthropy, or?
We believe that as your heart changes, that the lycanthropy will be essentially beaten back.
Okay. Alright, I'll do it.
Okay. And so she says, will you kneel?
She'll kneel.
Okay, yeah. Then the family forms a circle around you, and they place one hand on your shoulder, and they place the other hand on one of the other shoulder, and they form a circle around you. Modana is also part of the circle, but she floats, so that's how she does that. Has a small child who is in a stall. And Kira says, by the will of the Arno bloodline, we seal this vow upon your shoulders, that you may proudly bear the light and bring hope to the world. And as you stand and accept this, you can feel this warm light just filling you, as the hope that they basically like pour into you, kind of like beats away some of the fears that you had. And you now have paladin abilities up to level 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Paladin!
Sweet paladin.
Yeah. And you spend, I'll say that you actually spend some time with them, especially with actually Afton, because he's the one that actually teaches you how to use charisma to use spells.
Okay.
And so it's actually enjoyable because you get to actually know these people, and you see the kind of like you know how in families there are these streaks of personality that remain true. Yeah, it's you're you are my family, and you get that sense that this is your family. And you also learn that some of the songs that you grew up and knew are songs that actually originated with Afton. You just didn't know that they originated with him. So
Good for
it's
him.
kind of fun. Yeah. And after that, after you're done and you spent time with them, you see them stand and the start to fade. They say, "We're always with you," and the bodies fade, and you can see just personages all around you. So you recognize Lionel and Elfrida, who taught you before, the people you met today, and you notice that many of them, amongst these many people, are strong, proud dire wolves. One in particular catches your eye with a lofty, beautiful white mane, and your eyes meet this wolf, and you hear the name Luna being called to you. And oddly, the dog also looks around expectantly at the name Luna, and you wake up.
Okay. Who's my
You
grandpa
wake up
that I was
on-
named after?
We named the dog Indiana.
Work. So you wake up on the floor of the mausoleum, and your grandmother and father are kind of leaning over you, Luna, are you
Just imagine,
okay? And then
or something.
yeah, she's just and then you hear just this mama bear voice saying, "Move!" as Jade comes into view, and she just picks you off the ground and hugs you tightly. And she's like, "Oh, Luna."
You're back.
And she's like, "I'm so sorry I couldn't be here when you got back. They just insisted that I stay at the trial for my unique view." She just kind of rolls her eyes well, because
you weren't even there.
Well, they wanted you to be there, but I told them you were very ill, which is kind of true, and could not come, and that I didn't know where the others were, which is also true because I didn't know. And she just does the mom things where she fixes your hair and her you just take in. She has green eyes, right? There's this, I imagine, wild green eyes. Just gonna look over you, and she hugs you again. And while you're just smooshed against her breast, you notice that her Mylukia druidic totem has quietly been replaced with a Hephaestus totem. And Hephaestus, the druidic goddess of motherhood.
Aw, I'm so supportive. It's ultra supportive.
Yeah.
You're
Ultra
being
supportive
God, or
mom,
screw
so-
you, God.
Yeah. Yes. I'm gonna worship someone else at the Pantheon, so.
You left her in her
and,
time of
it's,
need. How dare you?
How dare!
Speak with a different manager.
I'm gonna leave
now.
you to.
We don't
Yeah.
care anymore. Put in the shop and worship. What? Nothing. I'm sorry. That's sweet though.
Oh my gosh, that's too good.
Yeah, and she, Luna, you are mentally tired, but physically you've just been lying on the ground. And you're kind of getting used to this change of things and of like information being forced upon you. So like you're like really brain tired. Your body's like okay, and so basically all of you get up and start going back to the house. You tell Anita to make some honeyed floral tea, and I'm sure they have a plan with caffeine that they can put in that Jade grows, and Jade, a lot of names. Jade goes on to say, well, the court wanted me to stay because of my unique position, because I am married to a human noble, but also part of the elven principalities, kind of. But basically, what's happening is that the other courts didn't want to step on the toes of the Drow matriarchy too much, which is unfortunate. That old toad of Elios, Trina's father, I pity that poor child. That man is terrible. He came with one of his sons, I think. He looked a lot like him. Poor kid. Just kind of like, poor kid was scared of his own shadow. But anyway, the elven principalities have decided to essentially take I think it's called this is Tiffany. I think it's called a plea bargain, where basically the Drow were like, look, we're kind of sorry this happened, but we don't see it as a legal problem, so we'll compensate you. And the Velios agreed to take the compensation, and his compensation would be a new wife.
But they were trying to keep you, was it?
What?
When it's like, that's not why they were trying to keep you, was it?
She's like, oh, I hope not. But no, he wanted a new wife from the
Oh.
Drow. She's like, yeah, it turns out they picked some woman named what was it? Brayden? Deirdre Brayden.
Brayden. Deirdre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know her?
We stayed with her. We're in there.
Oh. Oh. That would explain why they picked her.
Wait a minute, yeah, we know Deirdre.
Mhm. It's Eric's mom.
Wasn't she on house arrest? How's this going to affect her ankle brace?
Oh, yeah.
You've been pardoned. Now
Anyway,
we trust you on to
basically-
someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're pretty much
basically,
someone
like, the
else's problem.
Drow... Yeah, like, the Drow basically are like, you started this problem, you're gonna finish this problem. And so, you don't know... That's, like, essentially what's been proposed to happen.
Okay.
So that's good, too.
I didn't
he wanted a noble woman who was a mage,
Sure.
and yeah, it seems he wants. I mean, she's just like, ugh, that poor woman. She kind of gags a little. That poor woman. He probably wants to breed and have more magic children with him. And they all kind of like, oh.
Ah, topsiders. They don't understand what they're buying. They never understand.
With her half drow, he did with his other kids, and just
Anyway, the Elven Principality is actually kind of into it because they're hoping that this union will help ties between the matriarchy and the principalities. It's just kind of, which I don't know, maybe you could, but also, oh gosh, it's just like, ew, I don't. It's just like, have you met Velios? He's terrible.
I was with Tarina for a while. And I heard stories.
Wow. Yeah, it's just, and we'll say at like this point, Luna, if you want to, you can go and look for the
Yeah, I think I
party.
would look for them.
You find the boys instead, and they take you on a different adventure. We're partying!
Relax, Sally. Gee.
I would love that.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to the others. So as a group, you guys are writing, and Kayanthi, do you want to wait into the marriage conversation, post conversation?
Pretty much.
No, I've been away.
So, pretty much Ellie had a question as to has Kiara been married before, because the way that she weighed in on the conversation of marriage and her very matter of fact, well, it has nothing to do with love. It's all about marriage is merely a contract between two people. That's it. Don't really need love to make it work. Because that's where she's from. And so Ellie's just like, oh, so have you been married? It's like, oh, no, I was busy building my martial status. It would have been one of the things that were on the way were I not on my way out, so that didn't happen, and then so yeah, and so Ellie was confused. It's just like, well, my parents, when they talk about marriage, they loved each other and then they got married, and Kiara confused like, oh, it's probably a human thing. They're human, right? Yeah. That tracks. She made a wide blanket assumption because she has no idea. Throw a net. Hopefully it catch a fish.
Yeah. And Lionel was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Humans tend to marry for love. Well, he says, like, it basically typically depends on where they are in socioeconomics. Like, if they're a farmer, it's not going to matter that much.
Yeah.
But
This conversation left Kiara slightly confused, but feeling like, okay, well, it's just one of those things I'll figure out eventually. I'm not quite sure, but she didn't. She's like, oh, and oh yeah, and then Virkis. He came up and he gave Lionel her.
Practice, yeah.
he gave him the grocery list.
Give him
I got to get
groceries.
rested.
Alright, well, for what Kayanthi would do with all this conversation swirling about her, I don't know, because, like, I mean, like, out of character for me, I never actually developed her own parents that much. I never even thought about them, frankly. I just thought about the siblings. So, I'm sure Kayanthi has, like, no opinion about marriage whatsoever besides, like, oh, that sounds interesting. It just never occurred to me.
Yeah, your siblings were old enough that, like, you were basically... Would you say that you were raised more by your siblings than your parents?
Probably, yeah.
Especially the sister, yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like Kayanthi doesn't really have, like, a
especially in
concept of, like, oh, we
Lindario.
get married and then we have babies. She hasn't thought of that yet. She's
Yeah,
busy
like,
living on the run
I always
away from her
imagined...
family. So I don't know. She might just be like, well, it sounds like it's more trouble, a lot of trouble to do such a thing. That's all I can think of.
Very trouble.
I'm sure she would love it, but she's
Psych.
just a little like, oh, this seems a little out of my element.
Oh, look at those clouds!
Looks like my old friend Ricky.
Aw.
I wonder what he's up to. Da-da-da.
Grumpy.
And Grumpy Dwarf and the Dragonborn guy.
But that's what
Yeah.
happened while you were away.
Yeah. Oh,
And Mckenna became a paladin, so.
I did see that. I was listening to the latter half. I'm just now on the screen. Hi.
Yes, she's now... So you you ride through the city astride two wolves, and you notice that the city has integrated itself around the trees, which is different because most human cities will level the ground and just level the trees and just make it flat and then build on it. But here they built around the trees. And there's like, those of you who are familiar with the Elven Principalities, that's a distinct Elven influence where, like, they build around the trees, and it's very, like, organic in that sense where they don't remove, they try to, like, not disturb the plant life as much as possible. Or they'll even, like, integrate themselves into, like, living in the trees, or, you know, having, tree houses are actually pretty popular, but here, the difference is that they have A-framed houses on the ground. They're just around the trees. Trees are large and tall with deep greens, and there's a distinctive red bark that is stark against the vibrant and rich hues of the pine needles. The paths carve around the trees and rocks and houses, and even the market. Oh, sorry, I went to the wrong part. Went to the wrong description. And then you ride up to the market.
Kira finds a lot of to her it's a lot of visual noise, but it's like an interesting inverse of green spikes going upward versus blue spikes going downward. So she kind of likes the visual clutter, especially if it has a canopy, because it feels a little bit homier.
Yeah, there's the sky above you.
Yeah. And so she's kind of into it. Are there any rivers?
We have they don't have like a giant river, but they have a lot of like small streams that go through town.
That's normal.
They go
so
to
she
a
likes
giant
that.
lake. That much I remember.
Yeah, they go to a big lake. So there's like a big lake, and then a lot of like I don't know what the exact. Maybe it's a brook. Is a brook bigger than a stream? But basically,
They usually have.
We only know their sound quality.
you look around. They're big enough that you would need like a bridge to go over them, and they're deep enough to do your laundry in. But they're not like Mississippi big, because that's a big river.
She notes that it doesn't smell salty like the ocean does, but she does also note that it's blue, just like Kenny said. He was not lying about the water being blue and the sky being blue. Or the bonfire.
Bonfire in the sky.
Bonfire in the sky. What if it falls?
So, at the market, it's like early-ish in the morning. You guys didn't need to sleep. It's a quiet crowd. It's like when the grandmas and grandpas are out shopping and see some grandmas like holding up fruit and like turning them in their hands and knocking it, and then like some grandpas are like talking shop to the butchers as they prepare the meat and like package it. You guys pass by. Lionel pulls out his not laundry list, grocery list, and starts bargaining. And you guys can see a number of shops. Like you have an Armor's, a Scrollworks, Sotra's Specialty Goods, a grocery market, and there's the Warden's Lodge. So you just kind of walk around and absorb all these things. You actually notice a woman that is an elven sun elf who sticks out like a sore thumb here. And Lionel walks up to her and he's like, "Oh, hey, Neffy." And she looks a little bit older than you guys, but age is still kind of weird because of elves. But biologically, she's
a 25-year-old elf, so
we're all like 19.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like if she's like a 25-year-old elf, that means she's like really
yeah. I mean,
young.
that means according to the humans, she's an adult because she looks like an adult and she's 25. But according to her parents, she's not.
She's a baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, so biologically, she is.
Yeah.
25. Okay. Well, that answers the question of elves aging.
I'm 99 and I just turned into an adult.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to find. There we go. Oh, hey, Neffy.
98, sorry.
And he rides up. These are Luna's friends, and this Sun Elf woman. She has these. She's really exotically like pretty. She has coal-lined eyes. You can see that she has this linen that's it's a nice linen. It's like of a fine quality, and you actually notice that those of you who have been to Celiana's house, you notice that she actually is wearing one of Celiana's brand dresses. and she has this. It's a cream-colored shift that has a gradient from this yellow-orange to like this dark red. So it's like along the like hem of it. And she puts out her hand and she says, "Oh, it's nice to meet you. I'm Neffy. My father Soter runs this shop." And she looks at Lionel, like, "If you know Lionel, then you know Glock. And Glock's my stepbrother."
Kiara takes a minute. Oh.
She's just like, "Yeah, my dad married his mom."
Oh. It has to click, and it just takes a little bit longer for it to click. She's like, right.
She's like, "Yeah, we immigrated from the southern continent all the way over to here."
And she takes that information quite easily, but you get the feeling she's probably distracted because her eyes keep drifting down to the red part of the dress. She really likes the color red. It's very nice. Pleasure to meet you. My name's Kiara. She just remembers. Oh, pleasure to meet you. My name's Kiara.
Hi, nice to meet you. And she looks over at Ellie and Kiara.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ellie.
Hi.
I am Kayanthi and Emma. Nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you. What? Did you come with the rescue party?
Hold on. For me, what's the rescue party?
Oh, the people we were with.
Sorry, I was reading this.
Yeah, the people that were
She's
with.
like the group that went out to bring women.
I suppose they were a rescue party.
Yeah, that's kind of what we wound up calling it.
Yes, to find the party.
And,
Kristen is confused. We're the rescue party? Hold on.
We were the rescued party.
Okay.
Her dad ran the rescue party.
Yes.
so she's talking about, so Luna's dad formed the rescue party. In Virkis, they called it the rescue party because they were going to rescue.
So that huge band of people that
So-
we got to travel with for a while, those were our rescuers, technically.
Yeah, so like...
They rescued us from Odo.
Oh, they absolutely rescued us from the woods. The woods in, and the wood is, and the woods in.
Okay. Kristen's brain is caught up now. Kayanthi goes like, "Well, we were there when they arrived, but we've been traveling with Luna for some time."
Oh. You must have traveled a lot.
Some longer than others. Kiara, slight correction. Some longer than others. Indicates the other two.
It's been wonderful to see Luna's home. It's so lively.
And she's like, "You know, I didn't think I'd like Virkis as much as I did." And she basically is like, "I'm used to a lot of sand and, there's a beauty to the desert. It's very cold here compared to that." And then you watch as her eyes just kind of follow, like, another thing you've noticed about Virkis is that people wear less clothing. Like, it's totally normal for men to just not wear a shirt. Like, no one thinks it's weird. They just don't wear a shirt.
Barbarians.
Yes, and then, like, women wear, like, crop tops, and, like, all of them are basically farmers, or smiths, or hunters. So everyone here is usually pretty
Arms,
buff.
abs.
So, like, a bunch of really...
Feeling the-
Yes! So,
Arms, abs, and leg day. I love it here.
having the feeling that Varkis's main export is sexy calendars.
Yep.
calendars? Yes.
Main export abs.
We find one of the stores, and we should get one.
You're like, that's the main export of Varkis. Anyway, Campy,
I really like that.
in response to, what's her name again?
Neffy.
In response to Neffy talking about, like, how the scenery is a bit different there, Kayanthi would say, well, the scenery, it does vary depending where you are, but mostly it's just the atmosphere. It feels very, almost like a sanctuary, considering other places I've visited.
She's like, you can't, she weighs the weight in your words, and she's, I understand what you mean. There's, she's like, there's a lot less racism here. It's kind of nice. There's still some, but it's better than a lot of places, and it's honestly getting better here. She's kind of leans over and says, it was kind of rough on my stepbrother. Kind of this only drowned town. You know, kids are mean, but he found good friends, and she kind of nods at Lionel, who's busy bartering and trying to bargain down some prices.
It's a lettuce
and,
head.
he's doing
No,
it
it's
with
a cabbage, and the guy seems particularly flummoxed with him. No, you gotta pay X amount for cabbages.
And Lionel's trying to like use his charms to like just kind of like mark it down a little. You can say like you know how like Luna will flirt to get her way
It's a family
a lot of
trait, I
instances.
See.
Family
Oh, it all makes sense. I understand. I thought that was part of the bartering up here. Started to think that was normal for everyone up here, honestly.
I would like to think they get it from Jade.
I think so.
I just think Mark
Yeah.
is a little too straight. Mark's a little too straight-laced for that.
You're gonna give this to me. Yes, that's precisely how that works.
I own this place.
Nice doing business with you. Come on.
Yeah, and like the thing about Lionel is that it's like all with his eyes. It's
And his mouth.
Smooth
like-
operator.
Yeah, it's all with his eyes, and he knows how to like lean in and like. Jared, you rode with him, so you know that he smells like distinctly. Like,
Cinnamon and
ethically,
nutmeg.
It's like cinnamon. And
That's his
nutmeg.
natural
It
BO.
Smells like. It smells nice. It's just magically
Nutmeg
nice.
BO? I'm worried about what he's
Yeah.
eating. I don't know what's going on there.
I thought it was
No,
cologne or
it's his
aftershave.
ranger subclass.
Oh, okay.
Smells wonderful.
Leaves on his body.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, I mean that would make sense actually as a ranger because like you.
Ah, the Christmas treats conclave.
I
Yes.
smell like a
Smell,
nice
so
spice
you just-
forest. That's exactly my scent.
Cast hunters cinnamon sticks with my bonus action. Sorry.
And Kiara just sort of like,
And,
huh. Well, it's good that he made friends.
So, yeah, he and Luna and Lionel and Rolf and Strilda have been pretty tight for a long time. She's just like, you see Lionel like turn his head and be like, the name of his Strilda, and she's like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's really mad at Strilda.
And Kiara just sort of takes a moment to let that sit. Then she's like, speaking of luck, he's been elected to show us his home. Just, you know, on that one's behalf. On that one's orders.
And she's just like,
Suggestion.
oh, well, you're lucky Lionel volunteered. Actually, it can be pretty. She's like, believe it or not, you're actually in for a treat.
And she's like looking around. She's like, oh, I presumed so. I presumed as much. It's been a quite nice ride up here. Less bright. She's like, oh, a little less bright than usual.
And just, you know, continue to make small talk, and you know, if you look at her goods, there's a couple of they actually sell like minor magic items. So there's like clothes of mending. And,
We could have used those when Luna was a freaking myrtle.
yeah.
We could use that for one of ours.
Oh.
Actually.
Oh, these clothes.
Yes,
of
and
mending?
Lionel seems to is a good point. He's about to go to the next stall, so as he's passing, she just grabs him by his lapel and yanks him a little harder than expected. And she's like, oh, "Hey, you! Now that you're here, glad you're here." Yank pull. It's like, oh, you're shopping with the house money. Your sister needs those.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right.
And,
Magic
yeah,
word with
that's-
sister.
I mean, it's just like, yep. He's like, okay, all right.
Yeah, since she's been very half naked, So like, I guess that's like, and then like looking around like Virkis, and I'm like, I guess that's a normal thing. Maybe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the stripes make her self-conscious, though.
So Lionel, I rolled for it, and Lionel's charisma went out. So he actually talks down. He's just like, "Come on, Neffy, it's Bermuda," and she's just like, "All right, fine, I'll knock 15 off." And so he buys it for 85 gold instead of 100 gold, and
Can I
it's
help with
packaged
that?
nicely.
Because with the
With
like the
buy-out
bargaining, because I like to think that he's arguing
sure.
it down, and Kiara has a different way of bargaining, and it's more of like the Drow direct, where she's just like, "Oh, it has been quite hard. She has been quite sick lately, and I do feel that my cloak has had a little bit more wear in it since it's been half used and half abused by the changing. It's been really tough on her." Honestly, how she's gotten by this far is just on the good graces of the team. Ain't that right, Chianti? She looks at Chianti.
He's gonna be like, "Oh, we have certainly been doing everything we can. She hasn't really been paying attention to help our dear friend, and this item would be very helpful." She's looking at something completely different.
Good job, Team Dad.
Yeah, that's paid attention.
Yep. Oh yeah, and like just as you're just pouring on the it's been very hard for Luna. You see Neffy just kind of like wilting under like the sheer weight of the Drow.
It's not even that she's stern. She just has this like deadpan look, and she's like, "Oh, yes, it is unfortunate, quite unfortunate. That fire really did get rid of everything, didn't it? And it's just terrible."
It's just like, "That's 85 gold, yeah." And Lionel just pulls it out. He has to like pull out a couple of different purses, and then they count it out, and it's packaged in a little box with some ribbon, and you have it. So, what color is it? Actually,
yeah.
It should be yellow. Actually,
Yeah.
it should be yellow.
It's this
That's
pretty
her
yellow color. It's bright. Yeah, right and sunshiny. It's like, oh, this seems suited. It's suited to her, actually. Let's set out the nice chestnut color of her hair. And so when the deal is, once the deal is done, she just pats him and just like, "Good job." Just like pats it like that and keeps looking at the other things. You did exactly what we asked. Good job.
Hi, this is Tiffany, your DM. Thank you for watching Dungeon Damsels. This is not the end of the session, so please stay tuned for the next part. We update on Tuesdays and Saturdays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're interested in supporting us more, please push the subscribe button, like, or comment. We also have a Patreon, wink wink nudge nudge, and our show is in podcast form. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Podbean, Spotify, and plenty of other podcast platforms. Thanks, we hope to hear from you soon.